evening. My name is David. The title of my presentation is The Power of Songs and Social Justice. I want to welcome you to this event, this epic event. It is epic because I believe now is the time to create a world of social justice for women and girls, the children, the working poor, the houseless, the voiceless, the abused, and the different. So why is social justice important to me? Because I believe in meeting the challenges of extending liberty, equity, freedom, and justice for all. If we do not, everyone suffers. Because as Martin Luther King said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. If we want families, communities, countries, and a world that is committed to social justice for all, we must change our worldview, our thinking, and take different actions toward these issues. Social justice tells us to share advantages and disadvantages, benefits and burdens equitably, and that includes shortages. David Hume, the Scottish economist and philosopher, said, "Since the subject matter of justice is the distribution of things that are in short supply, it follows that if nothing were in short supply, the concept of justice would have no application." To address these shortages, my world vision is basics without borders, meaning food, shelter, clean drinking water, clothes, education, and medical for all. Social justice is about fostering social existence, providing a space for everyone at the table. It is about life and dignity of the human person. It can be defined as a way in which human rights are manifested every day, for every person, at every level of every society. As we listen to the songs this evening, we will hear lyrics from the heart, music that moves thinking, lyrics that rings freedom's bell, meaning psychological freedom, freedom from physical abuse, freedom from hunger. You will hear songs that talk to human rights and dignity. These are some of the criteria of social justice. You will hear lyrics that say, "We have come so far, but there is so much more to do." So what is there to do? For starters, what about women and girls? You will hear, "We're coming to the edge, running on the water, coming through the fog, your sons and daughters." To me, these lyrics speak to the misogynist, hater of women. Why do I say that? There are 100 million, not 1 million, 100 million women and girls missing around the world because of gender discrimination or because of misogyny. When I hear the song about Estonia, and you will hear it as well, with the words, "Land of my fathers, land that I love, I've given my heart to her." Well, women and girls have given their hearts and souls to the world. So how do we reconcile these facts? Women, according to the United Nations, do 66% of the world's work. Women produce 50% of the world's food and earn a whopping 10% of the world's income. Yet they possess a measly 1% of the world's property. So what about that works for us? And that's the second reason why social justice is important to me. And how do we reconcile the compendium of atrocities against women and girls, sex trafficking, sex slavery, political rape, domestic rape, that every 6 seconds in this country, a woman is raped? Then there's maternal mortality, meaning a woman dies every minute trying to give birth to a child. Some 800,000 people are illegally trafficked across international borders each year. 80% are women. That means 640,000 women are trafficked each year, taken against their will. 1,000 of these women are in the U.S. working as sex slaves in sweatshops, and many of them are working for nothing. And as the Chinese proverb says, to know and not to act is not to know. You will hear words from the song, Follow the Drinking Gourd, code words and instructions for plantation slaves to escape to freedom. So my question is, how would a 21st century drinking gourd look for women and girls? From the song you will hear, the old man is waiting to carry you to freedom. Who is the old man waiting to carry women and girls to freedom? We have met the old man, and he is us. It is up to us to change this. If not, we are complicit. I'm sure many of you have heard Bob Dylan's Blowing in the Wind, a song that he wrote in 10 minutes, a song based on an old black spiritual titled No More Auction Block for Me. Though his song talks about men, I want to paraphrase it. Instead of how many roads must a man walk down before you can call him a man, I want to say how much more work must women do? How much more abuse must they take before they are treated as equals as persons? We're talking about half the plantation here, half the population here. What about the children? Approximately 25,000 children die daily around the world, primarily from a lack of clean drinking water, lack of food, dying from malaria, for the lack of a $10 mosquito net, and measles because they cannot get a $1 injection. And thousands go to bed hungry each night in this country. You will hear Teach Your Children, a song from Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young. So my question, are we teaching our children well? I was one of the children who was not taught well. It's another reason why social justice is important to me. I walked off the plantation from home from my 10 other siblings. My parents, I walked off at the ripe age of 13, illiterate, delivering a newspaper to sharecroppers. Most of them could not read that newspaper, and nor could I. It was one of the largest cotton plantations in the Mississippi Delta. I did not know where I was going when I left, where I was headed, and where I ended up is a different story. But as I walked along the gravel road that day, a cattle truck driver gave me a ride. And since I had to sit in the back of the truck, where every type of animal dropping imaginable, cows, hogs, chickens, had that smell, you see. And at least he gave me a ride out of there, all the way to Plainview, Minnesota. While on the plantation, I learned two major lessons. One at the age of 8, the other at the age of 10. The first lesson was from brutality, which social justice opposes. The second was from compassion, which social justice embraces. So here goes. When winter comes to the plantation, everything is desolate, and there's little or no work for the sharecropper. Little or no food, especially if the sharecroppers did not save, and most of them had not because virtually there was nothing to save. So early November that year, word spread across the plantation that a commodity truck had arrived. Some call it a ration truck. Such items as dried beans, cornmeal, flour, cheese, rations from the government, we were told. So my mother, who was pregnant, took me with her to the commodity point. She was third in line, waiting for the rations. Then the roll walker arrived, a supervisor of sharecroppers. He was a big, burly gentleman, dressed in overalls, with a quart of tobacco in his jaw, spitting all over the place. And as the driver opened the double doors to the truck, the women shuffled to the door to get their rations. And suddenly the roll walker became enraged. I mean, like a rattlesnake. He was enraged. And he yelled in a very nasty tone of voice, "You niggers move back." And since they didn't move back fast enough, he rushed to the front of the line and pushed the first woman, who fell into the second woman. Both fell into my mother, who fell to the